Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Nicki Minaj is allegedly blocking and unfollowing fan accounts that show any love for rising artist Trim, and the internet is calling it out as insecure behavior from a legend who should be above it. The 19-year-old South Carolina rapper has been getting heavy comparisons to Nicki's early aesthetic, the Barbie-inspired visuals, vocal style, and overall energy. And instead of taking it as a compliment, Nicki's camp seems to be shutting it down hard. Fans who praised Trim suddenly found themselves blocked or unfollowed by the queen herself. Trim has addressed the comparisons directly, calling it an honor to be mentioned alongside a legend, and saying she takes it as a compliment rather than competition. That mature response only made fans side with her more, especially when Nicki's alleged actions started surfacing. The idea that a superstar with decades in the game would feel threatened by a teenager's buzz is wild to a lot of people, and the timeline is having a field day with it. The drama comes at a time when Nicki is already dealing with multiple feuds in public moments, so adding bullying new artists to the list didn't help her optics. Supporters say she's just protecting her legacy and doesn't need copycats in her mentions, while critics argue she should be mentoring or at least ignoring the next generation instead of blocking fans over it. The divide is loud and messy, just how the barbs in the internet like it. Trim's rise has been organic and fast, with people noticing the visual and sonic similarities to prime Nicki Minaj. Instead of leaning into the connection or using it for a cosign moment, the alleged blocking spree made it look like Nicki was pressed. Fans started digging up old Nicki interviews where she talked about wanting to see more female rappers win, and now they're holding her to that standard. Nicki hasn't directly addressed the Trim situation in a public statement, but the pattern of blocks and unfollows speaks volumes, according to the affected fan accounts. In an era where artists are expected to be accessible and supportive of up-and-comers, this move feels out of step with the Barbie brand of empowerment Nicki usually promotes. The backlash has been swift and brutal in some corners. What makes this even more talked about is how Trim is handling the moment, staying focused on her music and refusing to engage in negativity. Her calm, grateful approach to the comparisons has won over a lot of neutral observers who might have stayed out of it otherwise. Meanwhile, Nicki's silence on the blocking allegations is being interpreted in every possible way, keeping the story trending. The rap girl landscape is already competitive and cutthroat, so adding tension between a veteran and a newcomer only raises the stakes. Some see Nicki's alleged actions as a veteran protecting her space, while others see it as insecurity dressed up as gatekeeping. Either way, Trim is getting more attention than ever, which might be the ultimate unintended consequence. Nicki Minaj has built an empire on being unapologetically herself and demanding respect, so her fans are quick to defend any move she makes. But even some barbs are side-eyeing this one, wondering why a global superstar would spend energy blocking teenage fans over another teenager's music. The optics aren't great, and the conversation keeps growing. Trim continues to lean into her own artistry while graciously acknowledging the influence Nicki had on her generation. That balance of respect and independence is earning her new supporters every day. Whether Nicki eventually addresses it or keeps moving in silence, the damage to the support women in rap narrative is already done in some people's eyes. At the end of the day, this drama proves that even legends feel the pressure when new talent starts shining bright. Nicki Minaj built the blueprint, but watching someone else get compared to her, and allegedly reacting by blocking fans, has the internet questioning if she's still as secure in her throne as she claims. Trim might just be the name that forces that conversation into the light. Moving on. Chris Brown is once again at the center of chaos after he snapped on critics of his new album Brown and straight up told haters to go listen to Zara Larsson instead. The breezy superstar took to Instagram stories with zero filter, saying if you're not a real fan, he doesn't want you listening to his music anyway, and then name-dropped the Swedish pop star in the most shady way possible. The internet immediately went back to Zara's past comments where she said she doesn't listen to Chris Brown because he's an abuser and even blocked him on Spotify.
Or name one artist we would never find on a playlist of yours. There's so many artists I have blocked on Spotify. And all of them are like abusers. You certainly wouldn't find like a Chris Brown song. Hi.
Zara Larsson has been vocal for years about not supporting Chris Brown due to his history with women, calling out his behavior in interviews and refusing to put his music on her playlists. When Chris fired back by telling people to stream Zara instead of his album, it felt like he was throwing her own words back in her face, while also shading her relevance. Zara hasn't directly responded yet, but fans on both sides are already picking teams and dragging each other in the comments. The beef actually started simmering earlier when Zara doubled down on her stance during a recent interview, making it clear she stands by her decision not to support artists she believes have hurt women. Chris's album rollout was already getting mixed reviews from outlets like Pitchfork, so his clapback felt like frustration boiling over. And Zara just happened to be the name he threw in the mix. Now the entire timeline is arguing about accountability, cancel culture, and whether artists should separate the art from the artist. Chris Brown's Instagram story rant didn't stop at Zara. He also went after Pitchfork and anyone else criticizing the project, making it clear he's unbothered by the reviews and only wants real supporters. But by bringing Zara into it, he reignited a conversation that's been lingering for years. Fans who always defended Chris say he's allowed to clap back at haters, while others say he should have just ignored it instead of escalating. What makes this feud extra spicy is the timing. Chris is trying to push a new era and project, and instead of focusing on the music, the conversation keeps circling back to old controversies. Zara's refusal to support him has become a symbol for a larger cultural debate, and Chris's response only poured gasoline on an already burning fire. The back and forth has people revisiting every old interview and tweet, keeping the drama alive for weeks. Zara Larsson has stayed relatively classy in her responses, simply standing on her principles without going low. That restraint has actually earned her more respect from certain corners of the internet, while Chris's unfiltered approach continues to be both his biggest strength and his biggest liability. The contrast in how they're handling the moment is stark, and the internet is living for every second of it. Chris Brown's fan base is fiercely loyal and immediately went to war for him, flooding timelines with defenses and calling out what they see as selective outrage. At the same time, Zara's supporters are praising her for refusing to separate the art from the man, especially in an era where accountability is supposed to matter. The divide feels deeper than just one Instagram story. It's a reflection of how polarized these conversations have become. The beef also pulled in other names, with some pointing out that Chris has worked with plenty of artists who've had their own controversies, making his frustration with Zara feel selective. Others argue that everyone has the right to choose who they support and listen to, and Zara was simply being honest about her boundaries. Either way, the conversation keeps evolving and pulling in more voices every day. Chris Brown continues to make music and tour despite the constant noise, proving that his core audience will always show up. But moments like this remind everyone that the past never really stays buried in this industry. One comment can reopen old wounds and spark brand new debates. Zara might have started the latest chapter, but Chris made sure it went viral. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you never miss the latest celebrity news, entertainment updates, and trending stories. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.